Hi, Caitlin. How you doing? I've got your work up and I've got your written rationale. Thank you so much for including this because this is really important. And I've got a little mini lecture for you here. And just bear with me for a few minutes because when I'm done, it will all make sense. Okay. First thing I'm going to say, and I don't want to sound discouraging, but this is not working for a couple of reasons. The first reason it's not working is because the way that you have it mirrored like this. And what it's doing is it's pulling attention away from the actual type itself. It's pulling attention away from it. And it's doing that because you've introduced a foreign object, and that is the upside down and backwards a reflection type of the actual type itself. Okay. And in terms of visual communication, and I mean, if this were my company, and I would say Minotaur Publishing, and the designer came with a logo like this, I would say, well, wait a second, I want people to concentrate on this. I don't want them to look down here. And even if you're not looking down there, subconsciously, I just wanted to get rid of that box around. It was bugging me. Subconsciously, you're drawing a lot of attention away from the logo by adding this. Okay, and that's something you don't want to do, especially in a logo. All right, I don't mean to sound discouraging. I really don't. I think the experimentation is fabulous. It just doesn't happen to be working out in this, and I hope my reasoning makes sense. Okay, this is logo development, meaning that you're encoding meaning into the word mark, and right now I think you're diluting any meaning that you've encoded by adding this in such a foreign way that the mind looks at it, immediately sees something is askew. So the mind, whether it's doing it subconsciously or consciously, the mind is trying to figure out what's going on here instead of looking at this and letting this register solidly in the brain. Okay, another thing I want to mention is this, and this is why I'm so glad that you left your written rationale. So important to leave written rationale. I want to preserve something that felt up to date but very classic. Okay, so you use the word modern, and you're saying you want to be up to date but classic. You say the word modern is it describes something that is classic while being presented differently for the era. I went with a classic burgundy color. Okay, I don't want to talk about color right now. Modern twist is the formal sans serif. So you're saying this. You're saying you're using a formal sans serif, but the word is modern. Okay, the two don't coincide because a formal sans serif always more points to traditional, a traditional visual posture, and that's the nature of serif typefaces. The modern twist is the formal sans serif. We get out the lettering whilst also making it a type lowercase. So this is not sans serif. This is a serif typeface. So I'm not real sure where, I'm a little confused at that right there. So using a serif typeface indicates tradition, okay? Typically, if you want something to look more contemporary, you would typically use a sans serif typeface. Okay, another thing that is really confusing, and I would just want to explain this to you. This is the part where I said, bear with me for this lecture. This looks like a typeface. This looks like modern number 20. If it's not modern number 20, it is certainly a modern typeface falling under the category. Modern not meaning that it's modern contemporary, but modern meaning a phase in design history that occurred in the 1800s. In the early 1900s, the way that paper was manufactured allowed type designers to add these really fine little serifs and these little tiny tails. Nonetheless, this is a very old typeface, so it's confusing, but to use the modern number 20 typeface to indicate a modern stature or a modern contemporary feel those don't mix like that. And I know it's confusing because of the term modern and the modern period. A lot of times we can call the modern period Didone. And one of the classic typefaces for Didone is called Bedoni. And modern 20 is in here somewhere. I'm not real sure where it is. But at any rate, the modern typeface is more indicating a period of time and not a specific visual stature. Okay, now what I would recommend doing here, if you want an actual modern, meaning a contemporary look, I would say use a sans serif. experiment with using lowercase, using uppercase, but I would recommend you don't mirror this like this. You can get a really super contemporary look that I think that you're looking for with Minotaur Publishing using, I'm going to suggest something from the Universe family, something from the Gill Sans family, maybe something from the Futura family, and of course, something from the Helvetica. Any one of those, I think, will really point to this really super contemporary visual posture that you're looking for based on your writing. Okay, I hope my comments make sense. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to, like. I don't want to sound like I'm shooting this down because I love the experimentation. Your reasoning behind color makes good sense too. But right now, I'm going to give you a little tip. Okay, whenever designing, especially logo design, work in black and white until the form is done, until the actual logo is done, then start working in color. The reason you do this is because every time you add color to something, you're adding another meaning. So as a designer, you want to concentrate on form for the word mark or the logo. Once the form is down, we can start adding additional meaning through color. Okay, hope that makes sense. Again, please let me know if that doesn't make sense. I'll be glad to clarify using examples and some other things, okay? Hope my comments make sense. I do not want to sound discouraging. Okay, but thanks so much for your example and for your written rationale. And as I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns whatsoever, big or small, please let me know. I'll be glad to clarify. Okay, thanks, Caitlin.